Hey guys, it's me, Thor the Ninja. I'm here with some exciting news, something that I've been working on for the past, I don't know, 6 months or something. I'm finally ready to unveil it in its final form, and here it is. It's the Heartforge. Let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look what's inside. Let's go ahead and take a look and open up your very own Heartforge. This is what it looks like from the outside, and we'll go ahead and we'll open it up on the inside. Once you go ahead and open it up, this is what it looks like on the inside. You'll notice it's pretty bare bones. You'll see it has some words: evasion, level, name, traits. And down below at the very bottom, you'll see where the hope and fear dice could be stored while you're using the Heartforge. Directly in the center, though, you'll notice that there's the letters A and the number 5 right in the middle. And that's because that will be where you install the core. Let's go ahead and install a core and take a look what that looks like. With our core installed, it becomes pretty clear what those abilities and things on the side and labels are for. I went ahead and chose Wizard, but you can go ahead and choose anything you want. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Great. In the top right, you can see what domains the Wizard uses for their domain cards: Splendor and Codex. Below that, you'll see the suggested traits that a Wizard might use to build out their character. Below that, even further, are the starting characteristics for a Wizard: HP 5, Stress 6, and Evasion 11. These are the base scores. Below that, you'll see the Hope feature. Not this time. And just below that is the description about a Wizard. You've become familiar with the arcane through the relentless study of grimoires and other tools of magic. But let's go ahead and install our core cover, and we'll see the magic happen. With the core cover installed, it's now pretty obvious what those fields are for. There's a spot for to write your evasion, what level you're starting at, your character's name, and you can see through the windows those suggested traits remain, as well as what might be used for: sprinting and leaping, lifting and smashing, etc. Here we have our two experiences, 1 and 2. You always start off with experiences that give you a bonus of +2. The player would go ahead and write in there. As you level up, there's 2 more empty spots for adding experiences, as well as what they are described for. Here you can track your most basic features: hope, HP, stress, armor, and there's even a cutout for your damage thresholds between minor and major and severe. Tracking your stats, hope, HP, stress, and armor, is as simple as figuring out what your max thresholds are for those traits. So if you remember, underneath the core cover, the HP for a Wizard was 5. The stress was 6. And we don't yet have an armor score. We haven't put on any armor, so we'll go ahead and leave that one off for now. With these magnets, we can track our hope, HP, stress, and armor. The game starts with 2 hope, and you start with no HP, stress, or armor. But we could go ahead and pretend we've taken 2 hit points, 3 stress, right, etc. These core covers can come in any number of filaments or varieties that you have access to. So this is the default one for this character. But we could go ahead and put in a balloon if we wanted to. Or a bright yellow. It's however you want it to be. You build it how you see fit. All right, we're going to go ahead and slide in the right-hand panel and take a look at what that looks like. On the right-hand panel, it's half the size of the main panel. There's a spot right here, big, wide, and open. It perfectly fits a field notes notebook. But it's also tracking some information. From above, you can see it says active and backup. But if we tilt it just a little bit, you might be able to see it has primary and secondary written right on there. Moving in on the left side, here we have our domains labeled 1 through 5. Here we have a space for a class feature, and we have cutouts, little divots to put in your standard TTRPG dice, D4 through D20. And then here we have a blank space, and that would be a great place to roll your dice. All right, I went ahead and added in some details into our Heartforge. Starting from left to right, we've got a couple of domain cards. This is Boblin the Goblin. He's our wild-born School of War wizard. So he's got his 2 domain cards. His special class feature is over here in that space we saw earlier. Here we've got the Goblin card. The wild-born sits behind there. And our first foundation card for the School of Wizard. Over on the right, I'm going to go ahead and bring this over a little bit easier to see. But we have a great sword, and I didn't have an armor card, but I added Entangle. It does hold standard size tarot cards as well in each of these card slots. We have our field notes, so we can go ahead and take any notes down or write anything down that we need to. We have our duality dice down here. And I filled in some of the details. I do get an extra HP for being in the School of War. Stress remains the same at 6. And if I take the leather armor, I get 3 armor. And that gives my damage thresholds get up to 7 and 14. So who is this for? I envision this being for people who struggle with too much information that isn't relevant when it needs to be relevant. The standard character sheet has a lot of great information on it, but not all of it needs to be visible all the time. I see this being used for kids who are just learning the game and just want to know what they need to know when they need it, without all of the extraneous information and text. When the game master asks for a roll, they know exactly where to look and what to roll. When they start marking HP and stress and armor things, it becomes very visual and a little bit fun to move a little game token down on the board. If you start rolling dice, there's a place specifically to roll dice that's small, contained, and not all over your game board. I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing what builds you guys come up with.